Good evening. Okay, gotta unmute everyone's mic. If you guys can unmute yourself, go ahead and unmute yourselves. There we go.
Yo.
Test.
You can hear me?
Check. Audio.
Check.
Audio check.
Sounding good. Good evening, guys. Happy Monday.
Bless. What's up?
Bless.
Good. So glad to have you guys here. I see that we have some people in the comments already. Got some people logged on. So welcome everyone to another episode of Plugged In. My name is Kerra Denel, and I'm really excited to chat with these amazing gentlemen today. Thank you to our sponsor, Digicel. And again, thank you to the guys for being here, Willy Chin, Crown Prince, Tony Cross, Scratchmaster, and the Bandit. Tell me, guys, how are things in your respective countries right now? So you guys can all take a turn to answer the questions. So I guess we can start with Willy Chin. You know, I'm not sure if you're in Miami or if you're in Toronto. Talk to us. What's happening?
I'm all over the world. But my country is Jamaica, then America, and then Canada. So right now, election time. I don't know, sticky time in America right now. Just a comedy show every day. But that's it. Everything's good. Everything blessed. Can't complain.
And how are you coping?
Oh, good. I'm just here. Oh, that's me alone. Oh, coping good. A lot of family time. A lot of Mackenzie time. I actually made an online course. I'm dropping it very soon. Soundboypro.com. Look out for that. You can learn how to remix, learn how to mix down your dub plates, a little bit of production, like a lot of gems in there.
Nice. Okay. And how about you, Crown Prince?
I mean, right now Dubai is pretty cool. We're not locked down or anything. We have a couple parties here and there, but they're mostly like restaurant gigs. Other than that, everybody's here just trying to, adjust and pivot from what we were doing in February due to obvious reasons. So, we're here right now, just trying to be as creative as possible.
Amazing. And Scratchmaster? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, well, I'm in Grenada now, and basically, literally from March or so to now, there isn't any entertainment. We still can't have mass gatherings. As a matter of fact, they're looking to change the protocol here just now. The Grenada is looking to remove itself from the CARICOM bubble, and literally everyone that is coming into the country is going to have a negative PCR test and quarantine for 7 days. Mandatory. Wow. At your expense at that. So
wow. So we're not going to Grenada is what you're saying. Okay. And Bandit, what's happening with you up in Toronto?
Well, I mean, I want to say so far things have been they're pretty good. Like, can't really complain. You have to be kind of thankful for the way the government has kind of kept things at bay in terms of controlling the death rate and the infection rate, and to be kind of happy that some of us can still work, some of us can still have an income, some of us don't, some of us are not going still crazy. So just kind of happy with the way things are going and just dealing with it.
Okay. And Tony Cross?
Hello.
Welcome.
What's up? Well, I'm in the States and we just kind of bracing for election right now. And after Wednesday, we're going to see how this thing going to go. That's everybody just bracing for this election right now. Because different states is chaos right now. There's different things happening in different states because of governors. So we just have to see how it goes with this election.
Yeah, I think it's a very scary thing. We were actually just saying backstage that 5 years ago, we were all at Clevelander was it 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah, when we were at Clevelander and Trump he won elections and everyone was completely in shock. But now fast forward, we're all sitting here and nobody knows how this is going to go. So praying for the best, hoping for the best. We'll see how it goes. But, make sure you guys are staying safe out there in the US because, yes, there is a lot that's happening right now. So I will, get the discussion started. I will ask everyone an individual or a couple questions, and then I'll open it up for multiple questions that everyone can chime in. So I'll start with Crown Prince. Your tag is international DJ, curator, and soul rebel. I know what everything else is except for soul rebel. So can you please tell us what is the soul rebel?
I mean, Soul Rebel is just, that's always been my state of mind and my approach to everything that I do. Personally, business-wise, creatively, it's pretty much, I don't necessarily believe that everyone has to follow the same trend. If you feel a vibe and you like going down a certain path, you don't have to wait for everybody else to follow that path as well. Just go on your own, do your own thing. Once you have faith in yourself, that's pretty much a rebellious thing. If you consider things run in the business and sometimes in life. So I say Soul Rebel just to remind myself sometimes, just because nobody else is on this doesn't mean I should jump off. I should just stay on my path and keep going.
I like that. And a lot of people want to know, how did you end up in Dubai? Because you were in Florida doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, Crown Prince is taking over Dubai. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
I came to Dubai for a few shows. I believe it was 2009. I did a couple of shows out here that year. Came back to the States. Then 2010, came back to Dubai. I did about 3 more shows. I remember saying to myself, every time I came, it was something new. They were building something else. It's such a new city, and it's very rare that you get to move to a city that's emerging at the same time. And when the opportunity arose, I couldn't turn it down. It was a chance to literally go to a completely different part of the world and spread the vibes of, soca, dancehall, Caribbean, everything. It's been a blessing.
And what would you say is the biggest difference between Florida and Dubai's entertainment industry?
I would say Florida, and just that side of the world. It's easier to deal with the business side of it, entertainment-wise also, because it's your home. Like, people have a saying, like, you know the devil in your own backyard, rather than coming out here to deal with a brand new devil. But other than that, the people over here, they're very open to hear everything. And they just love music that they can dance to. So that's the difference. Instead of running down what's the big record, they just want a good record that they can, dance and have a good time to. So it's more selective choice over here compared to, what's the top 10, top 20 over there.
Okay. And in your opinion, what do you think is the role of a DJ?
The role of a DJ is to entertain the people that's in front of him.
I mean, a lot of people have different opinions about it. So the main focus is entertaining the people.
Entertaining the people and also educating the people as well.
Right.
There's 2 roles of a DJ.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. We'll go over to Willy Chin.
One.
Adding you back here. So you're a Jamaican DJ and also one of the founding members of Black Chinese Sound. In the most recent years, you've been heavy on the carnival circuit. So we've heard you play soca, but what we want to know is, how do you transition from remixing dancehall and hip hop into playing for carnivals? Like, what's the scoop?
Man, it actually, somebody shared a bunch of acapellas with me. And I created actually Majestic, DJ Majestic.
Yeah.
In the whole full of current soca music. Like, I was like, yo, these are brand new. So I just made a mix series. Oh gosh, went to Trinidad a couple of years, scope out the scene, and then they just got hired, got booked. And that's the end of it. That's it.
Okay.
Shows, and that was it.
And tell us about your experience in videography, as well as the technical aspect of production, because you've shared a number of informational videos to help persons in the industry, purchase the right equipment and set up their home studios so that they can operate in this digital space. To me, you seemed really prepared, to be honest, to handle this whole new norm, I should say. Is this something that you recently learned, or is this something that you've been doing from before?
No, I've always been dabbling in visuals as well as audio, so it was an easy transition, especially now everything is digital, everything is virtual, and I had a difficult time listening to bad audio on these live streams, looking at bad video on these live streams, and it just, I don't know if Scratch would know, or any DJ at a level, or engineer at a level. You don't want to hear crappy quality, you know what I mean, or sick crappy quality, you know what I mean. And this, I just try to keep my brand up, as you know, to the highest quality, and I just want everybody to get it as well, you know.
Yeah, look good, sound good. It's a team
Yeah.
effort. So, how important would you say it is for a DJ to not just learn the art of DJing, but to further their education when it comes to media production and streaming?
Well, especially now with the COVID thing, there's a lot of events happening online, so you should get familiar with the technical aspect of it. Especially, I just played a party in St. Lucia at a club from my bedroom. You know what I mean? With people there that you can hear the forward them, you can see it, and it's just a different experience. But yeah, if you just want to better yourself in as a DJ, as a chef, as a musician, you got to put in hours, and you have to go into the other avenues to make yourself better, to make yourself stand out from the crowd. You know what I mean? So as long as
Agreed.
you're dedicated to it, just do it. You know, like every aspect of it is important. But you could hire somebody to do it for you. You don't have to learn it for yourself, you know? But
Yeah.
it's good to have some knowledge of it. That way you could tell the person, yo, I know you're doing something wrong, or try this, you know? I have an idea like this. Can this work? You know? So having a little bit of knowledge overall is great.
All right. Perfect. The Bandit. The Bandit, the Bandit, the Bandit. So we have listened to you speak on several panels. You know, you've done a ton of interviews, and you really are considered a vessel of knowledge when it comes to the music business and the industry. So, in short, can you give us a summary of how you got into the business and how you became a DJ?
Oh wow. I mean, I guess I was. You could kind of say I was thrown into it because back in Grenada, my dad had a club, and I guess we kind of needed a DJ. So, like music, I got the opportunity to just throw myself inside somewhere and start a DJ, play some records, and King Hatchet was a hammer. I mean, that was the end of it. At the end of the day, I was just kind of thrown
Okay.
into it. Always had a love for music. I was fortunate to have access to a nightclub, and yeah, that's a short version.
Okay. And we're living in a time where DJing is being recognized as a real career. You know, back in the day, if you were a DJ, you were a DJ and something else. You had another job. So if someone was to approach you today and say, you know, they're ready to quit their day job and focus on being a DJ full time, what would you tell them?
I would say definitely don't just do that. You need to always diversify your situation. I mean, different people will have different versions of it, of what avenue to take to be a DJ. I know years ago I listened to um, David Guetta, and David Guetta would have said, in order for you, if you want to be a DJ, make sure you get into production. And getting into production, produce records, because you will always have someone on the other side of the planet who might play your remix, and that's a way of getting yourself out there. So there's different people might take different ways, different avenues. Someone might say, well, okay, in addition to being a DJ, I'm also going to produce events. So that's another way to sort of diversify what it is that you're doing as a DJ. So I would always say have different things to fall back on. Don't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket. That would be the advice I would give to them. Try to sort of put your hands in different pots, as many pots as possible.
Mhm.
And obviously put your all into it. But the main thing would be just like in university. University, what they do is you go to university and you do a bunch of subjects. You do some core subjects, but then you do some electives. And part of that
Right.
is trying to see how you can manage so many different things. So if you can manage all these things, then they put you out in life and say, okay, this person is very versatile. You can handle all these different things when you throw it at them.
Yeah.
Saying the same thing for a DJ. If you can manage multiple things at the same time, that's a good way to sort of.
Okay, that's awesome advice. And Tony Cross, you're gonna have to unmute yourself there. So
Yes.
your slogan is the only voice that matters. How did that come about?
That's crazy because I was actually in Toronto in Jester's studio. And me and Jester was working on something. Like we were doing a mix together and I was doing the voiceover for the mix. And we were sitting there and he was like, yo, you don't have a tagline. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like you need a tagline. Like we should get something that just, when people hear it, they know it's you. And I was like, so I'm there barking, like, oof, oof. And he was like, no. So he sits there and he's like, your voice is like ill. So how about the only voice that matters? And I was like, okay, all right, okay. And from that, like we got a girl to do a voiceover of that tagline, and we used that in the mix. So from that, everybody just started, just took off after that, I guess.
Okay, cool. And you're from Trinidad. You used to be a part of Natural Freaks. Then you kind of broke out and was doing your own thing. So how did that transition come about to Tony X?
Well, breaking away from a group is always a hard thing when you're trying to just kind of have your own path, I should say, at that time. So I kind of needed something that would just staple me, and with that came with the change. It needed to. I needed to find something within myself as far as not only being associated with that. Like I've been trying to get people to stop calling me Cross for years, but Cross is like a nickname. So it's like you grow up with it and people know that's what they know you as. That's what they're gonna call you as. But the X actually is just a cross, but it turns the other way. So it's just Tony Cross with the X, So I try to rebrand it as something new since I was leaving a group to start going on my own. Okay.
And as an MC, what's the process like when it comes to preparing for a gig?
Just drink coffee. Normally, like when you go, believe it or not, like people wouldn't even believe it if I tell them, like I have butterflies sometimes even going on a stage, but when they reach on the stage, I kind of turn into somebody else, and all my focus is on what it is that I have to do, which is entertaining people and make people dance. That's all. Yeah, just has to transform.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. And Scratch Master, are you unmuted?
Yes, Kerra.
Hey.
Yep.
Okay. So first and foremost, which country do you represent? Because I've heard talks about he's from Trinidad, he's from Grenada, he's from here and there. So let's this is an exclusive interview. So where is Scratch Master from?
I was waiting for that question. I knew that question would have come up in it. All right. I was born in Trinidad, San Fernando,
Ooh.
Trinidad.
South boy.
South man, yes. Right? I was born in Trinidad, and that's where I'm from, right? Birth certificate, everything. I am from Trinidad. What happened was in 1993, my parents relocated to Grenada because of their job, and I came here and literally finished school and learned to play music in Grenada. All right, that's like the condensed version of it. So I'm originally from Trinidad. I learned to play music in Grenada, also St. Vincent, and further on in Barbados, where I've been to. But what has happened is that literally every country that I've been to, people think that I am from there, but
yeah.
I'm originally from Trinidad.
He's from Trinity. In case you guys didn't hear that, he is from Trinidad and Tobago, San Fernando to be exact.
Yes.
But you grew up in Grenada.
That's what I mean. They like to claim. Yes, I grew up in Grenada. I also grew up in Trinidad.
Okay, so he's a Grenadian Trini. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you are known for, your mix and mastering skills. You're one of the top in the industry. So what came first for you? Was it production or DJing?
Literally, DJing came first. When I left Grenada and I went to St. Vincent, I was the I was a program / production manager of Hot 97 in St. Vincent. And I used to edit all the commercials. But what ended up happening was I just developed a fascination with sound from trying to make the commercials sound good. The early days of Skinny Fabulous, before he busts and everybody know him with On the Spot and so on,
Yeah.
he would come and record commercials in the station, those kind of commercials where you're singing and so on. And that's where the fascination started. And after that, because of, working in the radio station and meeting artists and so on and so forth, the very first song that I ever mixed and mastered professionally was Party Animal for Problem Child.
Okay.
Right. And it just grew from there.
Okay. And how important would you say it is for an artist to go to a separate company to have their songs mixed and mastered versus having the person who produced the song mix and master it?
It depends. It really depends. I know some producers that are excellent engineers, right? That could handle mixing and mastering their stuff. Perfect example, Parry Jack. He did the Pop's Guitar Rhythm with Carry On and so on. One of my mentors. And I know he can handle. But what happens sometimes, because of the cost factor, some artists, they can't necessarily afford it. So, and even some producers as well, especially the young and upcoming ones. So they try their hand at it. But my advice is this: you never know where a song could go. You never know. You never know who is listening to your song as well. Right? So it's good to get your business in check first. And it's also important to make sure that if it is you're doing soca, your record should be able to play next to Patrice Roberts without dropping in quality. If you're doing a reggae record, I should be able to play your reggae song, even though you sang it in Grenada or whatever country. When I play Jackie or Protege, there should not be any dip in quality. That's just how I look at it.
Okay, thank you for that. So I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to ask a few questions and everyone can take an opportunity to chime in. So Trinidad Carnival is officially canceled. Sigh.
No trouble now.
What do you guys think? What do you think carnivals are going to look like around the world in 2021 if there are carnivals?
I think eventually some countries, I don't know who's going to actually do it first or who's going to try first. I think somebody is going to go forward and have their carnival, just not without us, just not without the foreigners. You know what I mean? Because somebody's gonna say, "Listen, forget them people right now. We need to do something about this because this ain't making sense." But yeah, I don't know who's gonna do it first, but I eventually think that's gonna happen. Until we fix our situation here, it's gonna be a while.
Okay. Does anyone else want to comment?
Well, I could tell you this. I mean, all respect to the virtual thing, it filled a void, but I don't think.
It's for how long it gonna last.
Yeah, I mean, we all sit down and we watch and we just feel worse afterwards, wishing that we were actually at an event. I mean, going to a party, it's a social atmosphere. Sitting down and watching it is totally different. It's like watching a movie at home on your laptop versus going in a cinema and hearing all the bells and whistles and sound system inside there. It's chalk and cheese. I mean, I understood why we had to do it, but if you ask me, I think the first country that might have a carnival next year might be St. Vincent.
I am ready for it. No, I'm not, but
another planet.
I know Scratch and I have had this conversation before, and I honestly think it's with the way things are going with I was talking to my cousin today, and he was talking about how things are in St. Lucia, for example. And I think economy-wise, I think it's important to sort of generate a local economy to at least try to have a local carnival, in my opinion. So I say this to say that, some of these countries, a lot of these smaller islands, for example, have not as much or such a high infection rate as we do in North America or in Europe, for example. And I feel that with the ecosystem of what is involved with doing events and producing a carnival, from the man who might be selling ice to the person who's setting up the stage to the stage hand to whatever the case is, I feel like it is important to generate a local economy, meaning for people to have work, for people to be able to go out, socialize,
for sure.
all aspects of what is involved in carnival, not just the fun of carnival, but just the actual working process of carnival, events, etc. I think it is important for some of these islands to perhaps do it locally, and I feel like pretty soon they're going to start to say, well, we need to do something. We need to keep people, instead of having people's hands idle, because idle hands is the devil's workshop, as people know.
Yeah.
You want to kind of give people things to do.
Yeah.
And I think once people who are in charge or in control, once they start to realize the benefits of this, of actually producing something locally, I believe at that point it might generate something, and some people might start.
Something will start.
Mm-hmm.
I also say this to say, well, in some of these carnivals, if you know, like a lot of these events would have 5,000 people. I think it's important that if instead of having one 5,000 people event, it might make more sense to have 10 500 people events, because what that does is going to spread the wealth, or it's going to spread everything instead of it being under one umbrella. It's going to have, so now you're going to have 10 different 500 people parties, which will now, employ not 10 people, but it may employ 100 people.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying that to say that if people really work towards producing a local carnival, it might benefit more than take away, So I feel that with that in mind, some of these smaller, more productive islands might start to think, you know what, maybe we can do something like a Barbados, for example, like St. Vincent, as Scratch said, like St. Lucia,
Agreed.
I agree with that. Now, we've seen the petitions that have been going around to get soca music as a genre. We've made some headway and we've seen some growth in our music. More people are coming to our carnivals, streaming the music and so on. What do you think will get us there? Like, what will push us over the line? We've seen Afrobeats grow in a very short time, but what would you say that we're missing?
Something like that is sales, album, like money. Record sales, you know what I mean? Something like that is more than just people listening to the music, is actual volume of records being sold. That's my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Yeah, sales is one thing. I think too that some artists need to stop doing these email blasts to every Tom, Dick, and Harry with their song, and then want people to buy it afterwards. That is a thing. I've heard some producers, a good producer friend of mine, say that he doesn't understand why a song will get blasted to literally almost everyone, right? Obviously, there will be some key industry players that need to get the record, right? But perfect example, say a Cardi B record or a Megan Thee Stallion. I didn't get any email with that. I had to go to my record pool to get it.
Mm-hmm.
That I have a subscription for, right? But that is one thing that will help drive sales.
But didn't at one time Bandit had some sort of soca pool thing that she was working on doing?
Yeah. It's not one time. There is a pool. That is already in place. I mean, we have a number of DJs in our pool. So, I believe it's there. I think part of the problem is how. Here's my thing, and I'm just going to throw this out there. How important is it to have an actual genre? Is it important that you can have a genre so that, to drive people towards the genre in the streaming services? Or is it so that, in other words, now when you tag a particular song, other songs in that genre can get it? Or is it that right now, music evolves regardless, and Justin Bieber's song "Sorry" is soca.
Right.
Is it that music
Drake
evolves?
One Dance.
Right, Drake One Dance is soca. I mean, Afro beats ideally is borderline soca. So is it that there is an evolution of music so that the genres are blending, and there is no so the question I would now pose to your question, Kara, is what are the advantages of actually having a recognized genre soca?
Right. Okay, so I could definitely I hear what you're saying with respect to that, and I feel like it's we've tried to establish soca on a platform, because at the end of the day, soca is what comes out from the Caribbean. Aside from dancehall, soca is something that represents Trinidad, represents Barbados, and all these other countries. And I think that we have so much talent that comes out of the Caribbean that is not being recognized, because I think a lot of people, when they hear the Caribbean, they automatically think of Jamaica. Trinidad, St. Vincent, all these other islands are not necessarily identified when they think of the Caribbean. But there's so much talent that comes out from the Caribbean that being recognized as an actual genre will now shed light on all of these persons that are contributing to the space. So the producers, the artists, the writers, they now can start monetizing from this in a different aspect, because they're not recognized on a norm. That's my opinion with it. But again, if anyone else has any opinion with regards to what Bandit said or the question that I asked, I know Corey, you looked like you wanted to say something just now.
Yeah, I guess I agree with what Willie said. First and foremost, it's a numbers game. That's what it is at the end of the day. It's a numbers game, and we consume our music very differently than a lot of other genres. Soca music is not consumed the same way hip hop is, and even some of these streaming services, it's hard to get dancehall when you're looking, for certain things. It just says reggae. So even the subcategories, dancehall is technically reggae, but it's just it's a genre, it's a subgenre of reggae. So soca is always going to have that difficulty because we consume music differently. We come from a mixtape culture. Our DJs on the radio, it's literally mix hours. Any DJs on the radio, he's mixing music. It's not just the song is programmed like it is in mainstream cities.
Yeah.
There's also the term of in the mainstream, like the bigger nations. I see Jay's back on the radio now doing his soca show, Soca Therapy. He's, I think, the only soca show on mainstream radio in North America, if I'm correct. That starts the problem. Outside of Toronto, no main city. You would think New York would have done it by now, but no, it hasn't happened in New York because we consume our music differently.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so much variables to it.
Yeah, and then so with that, like, is it that we need to sort of expand our energy into creating this genre? I think it's important to be recognized, but somebody mentioned a stat the other day. Harry Belafonte was one of the first, or in the first 3 people to sell 1 million records, and he's Calypso, right? Which is the main umbrella of the genre. The main umbrella is Calypso, and then there is soca, and then there is kaiso. All these fall under the umbrella of Calypso. So, just as you've mentioned just now, Crown Prince, dancehall to me is also a genre per se, but it falls under reggae. So, is it that the energy needs to be put into, a subcategory, or is it that the energy needs to be put into the branding or the putting the music out there so that people have access to it? So, for example, if you hear Lil Rick on the radio and you want to hear it on repeat, you can find it on Spotify. Is that where the energy should be put in versus trying to actually get the category. And I'm saying that to say now, okay, if that's the case, because the algorithms that Spotify has, somebody might be attracted to Kevin Little and say, oh, I want to hear more from soca.
From soca.
Right? And hearing more from soca now means that under the genre of soca, you might get more attracted to it. Is that the reason why we're trying to put so much energy? So that's why I asked the question in the first place. What is the reason we're trying to put so much energy into that? Because in my opinion, music evolves. I mean, soca now is not how soca was in the 90s, for example, right? Like soca when Lester Paul was doing it is completely different to now. Right?
Very true.
The boss.
Also, I was corrected in the comments. Big up to my New Yorkers. I do apologize for forgetting about.
They are going in on you.
I apologize. And that's why I asked the question. Thank you guys for correcting that. But still, Bandit, you are correct. Getting yourself recognized as a genre, there is things that come along with it. But even if you go to Afrobeat, I put out a record the other day, and when you're looking at categories of what your record is going to fall under, it's even difficult to find Afrobeats as a genre. I think the world just hasn't caught up to a lot of these genres that have just splintered off on the emerging genres. We know what it is, but on the digital streaming platforms, you have to literally select African, and then you have to go to sub-Afro genres, which is Afrobeat, Afropop, and so forth and so forth. I think if from the beginning we had started this conversation with Calypso and then broken down subgenres from there, we might have had a better chance. And we still can have this, chance, but Calypso should have been the main focus at first, and we could have broken down from there.
Facts.
Truth. Okay, so what would you guys say is the key ingredient to a successful set, like a successful DJ set? What's the key ingredient in your opinion?
People.
Not playing for yourself.
I see Bandit smiling over there. Does that mean you have an answer?
I would say preparation.
Yeah.
There's just preparation in all forms, in the sense that, you can play one song, for example, and not know where to go from there. And if you're not prepared to have what songs you're playing 3 songs down the road, whether it's with your crate, whether it's actually knowledge of the music, whether it's actually having the song in your hard drive now or your record box, for example, like preparation is key.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of experience, music knowledge, preparation, practice, and trial and error too. You know what I mean? You have to try something, fail, try it again, it work, and then you gotta stick to that. So it's a lot of moving parts to a great set, right? And you can play one set today, mash up the party, play that same set tomorrow, and flop
And fail.
fail. It's all timing too. Timing. The crowd, everything plays a role. You know what I mean?
I think, as you said, Roll, I think it's important for DJs to understand how to play in the moment. So if it is a promoter hires you and he hires you to play prime time, you juggle as if it's prime time. If it is he hires you to play first, for instance, and people are now walking into the venue, there's no reason to be racing down songs when people now looking to get a drink and find their friends inside of the venue, right? So, I mean, it's really important to know your role. And I mean, preparation is important, but you also have to be able to adjust on the fly, because you could say to yourself, all right, I'm going to play these 10 songs or whatever tonight. You reach in the event, the DJ before you just plays it. And another thing is not what you play, it's how you play it.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Talk that, Scratch.
Talk the thing.
What you play.
Another thing that you mentioned there, another thing you mentioned as well, Scratch, that I think kind of gets underappreciated. DJing is like playing basketball or playing soccer or football or whatever the case is. There are very few DJs that actually lift their head. Being able to lift your head and read that crowd is a talent in its own.
Talent. Yep.
So there, I mean, for example, for me, I'm not one of those guys that does a lot of tricks. I don't necessarily have the skill that I have is, again, reading the crowd, seeing how the crowd is responding. I think that is essential to almost every DJ, because there are so many DJs that I have seen or heard in a club and been excited to hear them, and then when I go there and listen to them, notice they ain't lifting their head. And see the crowd just do that.
True.
Yeah. Another thing too, I mean, social media is very important. Branding is important, but if it is you develop a hype for your Instagram and your social media, you need to be able to match that hype when you go live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one thing for people to build up expectation from seeing clips and so on and so forth, you know, all the things you're doing in your bedroom and whatnot. And then when you go to hear them live, it's like, all right, you know?
Okay, and from a DJ standpoint and MC, how important is it for a song to have a road mix to the original song?
It's
Some songs don't even need to be road mix. So
Nope.
facts.
some of them just need to be left alone. Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
This is true.
But as I say, good and bad, because some of them work and some of them don't.
Some of them don't work at all.
Yeah. And then the crowd, the people are familiar with the original song. So when you play the road mix, sometimes if it don't connect, they can be like, "Yo, just play the original." Like, play my song. Like, stop
like most DJs feel a certain vibe for a song, and they know which songs to touch and which songs to just leave alone. They know, the DJs feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bandit.
Hold on. The good DJs feel it, Tony.
Sorry. The good one.
So basically, it's not important.
Yeah, it's not important.
Yeah,
Okay. I see that Kevin Crown is in the chat. He said road mixes are for mixtapes. It's not important at all. So
some of them don't even need to be on nobody mixtape either.
Some even be a mixtape.
To me, if you ask me, the biggest road mix I've ever heard that still plays today more than the original is Destra, It's Carnival.
Oh, yeah.
The one with everybody take a jump that starts off like that.
yeah.
I always hear that version.
I'll tell you something though. That Carnival, that didn't do nothing on the road. That remix.
Look at that. And then after the carnival,
which is a completely different conversation about things that work.
That's a different conversation.
That's interesting information. Now, is it a natural transition for a DJ to start hosting their own events? Like, is it kind of just like a natural step after you start DJing, when emceeing and hosting? Is the next step naturally to start hosting events? And if that's the case, also, like, what comes after that?
I think different DJs is different things. Like some go into hosting, some go into production, some go into photography, videography, some start cooking. There's different. Some A&R, or some rent speaker box, some keep events. So it's a different thing, but whatever interests the DJ, right? Whatever interests the person.
It's a personality thing. Yeah.
I think too, just like the rap industry, having a certain song and you don't even know when that career path is gonna end. Like, these guys use that money to make investments onto other things that's gonna make them money. And it's just kind of like DJing too. You never really know when the next hot MC come in or the next best DJ come in that people want to hire and not see you anymore. So you kind of use your little fan base that you have at the time to build off of that and stretch your brand to do something else, different investments on the side.
Right. Okay.
I'll take it even a step further. Some people may actually utilize their database or their know-how into real estate. It could be anything. So, I've known some DJs that are now in real estate right now, and they're making a pretty penny that way. Some promoters too. So there's different ways you can diversify. Just as Willy Chin said, it just depends on your personality.
Okay. Crown Prince, did you want to chime in on that?
Oh no, I agree with Willie from the beginning. It's just up to what your interests are and your talents are, really.
Okay. Now, you guys have all, DJ'd in your hometowns, MC'd in your hometowns, and then you've grown from there and started traveling. So what would you say is the main thing that you've noticed going from city to city, doing different gigs? Is it the people? Is it the vibe? Like, what's something that you notice that varies or is consistent?
Crowds are different depending on the country you go to. Big time.
Big
Crowd,
time.
people, music
Also
selection.
depend-
Yeah.
also
There's a
depends on
thing
the party,
called homework.
the type of party.
I think
Type of party.
David Crow mentioned that though. Do your homework too. Like each country is different. Like try to figure out the music they listen to and just work that into your wherever you come from, your Miami set or your Dubai set. You know what I'm saying? Work. So when you're there in the next country, the people have something to relate to you by. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's it. But every country is different. Every crowd different.
Mhm.
And everyone is a different experience.
Depending on the country, they have a different energy, especially around all time. Like Grenada with the jab and so on. I mean, Tony, that's a
Yeah.
different ball game.
Yeah,
Then
different.
Carnival. That's
We've seen the toughest of the toughest like fall on the face in Grenada. Don't play around.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know they no listen. They do some things in Grenada and Saint Vincent that you ain't gonna see anywhere just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see people take down whole fig tree and walk with it and all kind of madness.
Yeah, boy.
No, I'm telling you, it's really different. And I find the smaller islands tend to have a little bit more energy going on, especially
Correct.
around carnival time.
Correct.
I've heard DJs from Trinidad prefer to DJ outside of Trinidad more than in Trinidad.
Yep. It's
Yep.
the energy. It's the energy.
Yeah. What would you say? Like, do you guys have a favorite place that you've performed? Maybe one or two?
I staying away from that question. Again.
Stop the bookings, like
I love Toronto.
Everywhere is different. I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but
Yeah.
everywhere is different.
I-
Everyone's a challenge. Each place I go is a challenge.
For me, if I had to pick one, I would say Toronto. There's something about Toronto and their vocabulary for soca music that is just unmatched. Unmatched.
Bandit, do you agree with that statement?
I wouldn't say that because I know.
Be careful. Be careful.
No. I know for me, every place that I've been to and I've DJed at, I believe they have something specific about their culture, and that's what I enjoy.
Me
So,
too.
for example, Tony, you probably don't see it, but New York has a different energy too. Like when you're on a boat cruise in New York, the Cheryl Princess, right? And you are playing in there, and although the roof might not be there and things falling all over the place, the kind of energy that you're getting on that boat is different.
Yeah.
So, and then St. Lucia, whenever I play in St. Lucia, like the road energy is like it's different. And then in Trinidad, it's different. Miami has a certain feel. Like I feel every place has a certain
Their own distinctive.
that you can appreciate of that particular place. And I wouldn't necessarily say that there is a best. I would say that I know what I appreciate most when I go to Grenada. I know what I appreciate most when I go to BIM, right?
Politically correct, boy.
No, it's real.
That's the mayor answer.
You live for office, boy? Talk to me.
Boy, election is really tomorrow, yes?
Yeah, boy.
No, but I mean, think about it. If Cross, you know what I'm talking about. When you came to St. Lucia that first time, when I see breads, watch that.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
At the end of the day, to me, New York is the same kind of thing. Like I know, and you know what I'm talking about with Cheryl Princess Tony.
Yeah. It's true.
That was we home at one point. So like, at the end of the day, I feel like almost all places have a certain kind of je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, big word now.
Yes. Man, move to Montreal. Montreal, they live now.
What advice would you guys give to someone? So let's say, for example, you guys arrive at an event and Bandit, they pair you up with an MC that you've never met before. You don't really know anything about this person. What advice would you give to someone that's in that situation to make it work? Because I guess that's one side of it. And the other side of it is, do you have to have chemistry with the person that you're working with? So if I'm DJing and I've never worked with Tony Cross and we have no chemistry, do you think that significantly affects how we will be able to perform? And what advice would you give to someone to be able to kind of get through that situation if they've never worked with that person before, or they might not like the person, something along those lines?
I think anybody working on a pro level can work together without a hitch. You know what I'm saying? Once they have enough work experience, it's just playing songs and talking. Once you know your music, once you know how to play your music, you're good. If your MC cannot talk or your DJ can't mix, you just have the best thing you do, grab the mic away from them and tell them, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Or hide it. Grab the mic, plug it out, and just play music. Or vice versa, kick the DJ off of the turntable and say, all right, I'll plug up my laptop.
Okay, so I will say this.
That was a raw truth. Okay.
I appreciate that, Willie.
That's advice.
All right, I will say this. Since I moved over here like 7-8 years ago, coming back, I've DJ'd and been, paired with a variety of MCs. And I will say in our market, especially in our circle of the guys who tour a lot, it's almost seamless that these guys, MCs, I'm talking as a DJ because I'm not an MC, there's a lot of MCs who simply know what they're doing. Tony, one time, what did we play, Tony? I think it was the Uber Soca, let's play the old school. That was the first time we played, or was paired up. And
I think so. Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, we do this.
Yeah.
Very easy. And it's just a case of sometimes the DJ has to figure out how the MC works, and sometimes the MC just rocks back, okay, that's how he plays, and he goes.
Yeah.
And like Willie said, professionals, if you're at the professional level, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Anything out of that is just, there's an ego sometimes with the DJ wants to be the limelight. No, listen to my mix. This is how I mix. And instead of saying, okay, this is how my MC works, let me just work with the MC because it's for the show.
Communication too works with that too.
Scratchy, you have something to say? You want me to say it first?
No, you go ahead.
Bandit for president.
I know about all that, but what I'll say if you want to give a new MC advice, it's basically to know the music, and not just know the music, the lyrics of the song, because there's a lot of guys who give argument these days and know the punchlines of certain songs, but know the music in the sense of bar counts and when a song is supposed to give the punchline. Knowing. A lot of DJs now, they're technically inclined so that they're playing music so that it makes sense. So someone who understands music and how it works with 4 bars here, 8 bars here, an intro here, leading up to the chorus because the audience loves the chorus. So you're not going to talk over the chorus because someone who's in the crowd is going to want to sing along with the chorus.
Yeah.
So understanding the music might be the advice I would give to someone. Once you understand the music, you understand how the audience is appreciating the music. I think that's important.
And you know what's great about that, what you said? Because that's coming from you, a DJ, and not an MC. And a lot of guys on this panel here, most of them, I don't know, probably Chin is probably the only one that don't know that I used to DJ before I started to MC. Because, and that's a big thing what Bandit said there. If you do not know the music, how can I give a speech or talk about what it is that he's playing? Because I need to know, I need to understand what it is this man's saying in this song and know when to say something and know when to shut up. Because the crowd likes to sing certain parts. So you have to have understanding of the music.
Something very important that I forgot to say.
Back to experience, practice, from that first question, that's all what that boils down to.
Yeah.
I will say this also. I forgot to make a big point out, especially all the DJs here. If you are a newer DJ and you have a bunch of, you have this play unfamiliar MC and you have these remixes, these edits, make sure you communicate with your MC if your edit comes in irregular, like it's coming in at a part that's not what is the norm. let your MC know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you tell them, okay, I'm about to play differentology, but your differentology starts at a completely different point. He's MCing for the part that everybody knows.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
very
Yep.
important to communicate with your
Communication. Big time.
Yep, that's important.
Scratch, did you want to say anything?
Well,
further?
nothing beats when you have an MC and a DJ that have great chemistry, and we have a lot of them. I mean, we all know Back to Basics and Tony X. I mean, the two of them, I tired see that make people do strippiness.
Respect, Scratch.
You know, Jester and Kid Cut, Barry and Crown Prince. You know, Kevin Crown and Private Ryan. You know, even myself and DJ Puffy. When Puffy mics for me is a totally different ball game because both of our styles are pretty similar music wise. So when he mics for me, you know, he reads me like a book. You know, so you know that's been magic when you have
and the connection gives you a greater hype too as a DJ to play. It gives you more vibes.
Yeah.
Tony just mentioned that he used to DJ. Sorry, I had a brain freeze there. That he used to DJ prior to that. So a lot of people don't know. They wouldn't have known that. I actually didn't know that as well. So that's great information. What would you guys all say is something that people don't know? Like, what's one thing that the general public does not know about you guys?
Oh Lord, I have a good one. The general public don't know that I am scared of flying and always on a plane.
Word?
Serious?
Yeah. I have a fear of flying. Like I'm in shambles when it's time to get on the plane, man. But I have to go.
Wow.
Wow.
I would have definitely would never have thought that.
You DJ Khaled?
What about you, Willie?
I'm a shy person. That's it.
I mean, I feel like the general public knows.
Shy to myself. That's it.
Okay, and Scratch Master?
I used to work in a bank before I did music full time.
Serious?
Yep.
Wow.
I worked in a bank for 4.5 years before I did music full time.
Okay.
Wow.
Crown Prince.
I never wanted to be a DJ. I hated DJs.
This is
All the DJs that I knew, other than like the three that were my friends, I hated DJs. I never wanted to be a DJ. I just wanted to be the guy that remixed people's dub plates, and I was good with that. I never wanted to be a DJ.
interesting. Crown Prince, what time is it by you right now?
It is 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Wow.
That's how much I love you guys. Yeah.
See, doing it for the love. You're doing it for the culture. You're doing it for the love. Make sure, everybody that's in the comments, make sure you send some energy his way because he is up. He has not gone to sleep yet. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and he's here with us. The Bandits, what is something we do not know about you?
That I work in engineering. I don't know. That might be one.
You're an engineer?
Yeah, I work with the city of Toronto.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't even know that.
Wow. Okay. What I actually also want to ask Bandit. So, what is the story behind the short shorts traveling pants? Like, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
Not done.
Want to know. The people ask this question. What is the story? What's the scoop? Let me solo you here so we get up close.
Lord, solo yes.
Short.
I wouldn't say there's a story. At the end of the day,
you started a fashion trend, so how did that come about?
Trendsetter.
I just like to dress nice. That is it. Simple. I like to. One of the things that I've always enjoyed is, not looking scruffy. There was a time when I used to go to parties and DJ, and just look scruffy. Track pants used to be my favorite thing. And then we'll tell you that. But then there just came a time when I was like, nah, that ain't cutting it anymore. You know?
Yeah.
And decided to just change. That was back in the 90s.
Cut the length.
So
yeah,
I think
so I guess it just
But-
went from one thing to the next. So it's like, you know, back in the Grand Poobah days, it used to be the heel figure wearing, jabot wearing kind of jeans and thing, and then it just evolved into True Religion, and then it evolved to Diesel, and then it evolved to, you know, just different types of slim trending. So,
I think that you should start your own line, to be honest. I think that you would get a lot of business if you started your own bandage short shorts line.
That's not a bad idea.
That's not
not-
a bad idea.
Remember, folks, where you heard it first.
well, you want to hear something funny? I actually tried to hand that off to someone. I tried to hand it off to Hoppy. I said, Brett, me and you wearing these shorts and things. I said, think about it, hyper shorts. I said, "That'll be
Oh,
sick."
Got
Right?
his name and everything.
Yeah, I gave him. I said,
Trademark.
I said, because I don't have the time to go and do that. So
Yeah.
better if he would go, to go ahead and do it. So, but then
That's not a bad business. You guys could have got into that
That
together.
could have worked.
exactly. There's
Yeah.
still
Couldn't take
time.
that much time. You
He's
don't
running
have
the
to
road.
material. It could have worked.
There's
And
still
then-
time, folks. There's still time. 2021.
Because at the end of the day, we always making fun of your shorts, but we still was wearing them.
Mhm. Everybody, it was trending. Like
It was trending.
I feel like there was a hashtag bandage short shorts.
Yeah.
maybe soon we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. So I'm gonna ask you guys an individual question. I will start with Scratchmaster. If you could do anything you wanted tonight, go anywhere for any amount of money, what would you do and why?
Damn, boy, you had to start with me, boy. Repeat the question again.
Okay, so if you could do anything you wanted tonight, go anywhere for any amount of money, what would you do and why?
I'll take my family and go by my parents in the States for Christmas. That's what I would do.
Aww.
Family first.
Okay, that's really cute. And Tony, do I say Tony Cross or do I say Tony X?
I would prefer Tony X, but I just
Okay,
give up on everybody calling me Cross.
we're gonna start to get people to say Tony X. So Tony X. What is your favorite guilty pleasure and why?
My guilty pleasure. That's a hard question. You want to come back to me now?
Okay. All right. You think about that.
21, boy.
Okay.
Come back to me.
Crown Prince. You are stuck on a deserted island and you can only take 3 things with you. What would they be?
3 things. A deserted island. Woman.
Like a woman? Just like a woman.
Come on,
Okay.
3 women.
Okay.
I would say 3 women, but
A woman.
a woman. A deserted island. Okay, so
Deserted.
a woman, a generator, and a blender. I'll be fine.
Because you're going to make smoothies all day, huh?
You know this. Done. I will find some fruit and I will blend them. Be nice.
Someone in the comment said, DJ PB said 2 women and a pot of rice. And Kevin Crown said a woman who can cook. A woman with a boat. Okay. Willy Chin.
Yo.
We finish up this interview and you step outside of the house and you win a lot. You find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 million. What are you going to do?
Cash it out, come back home, take a nap, don't tell anybody. keep it to myself. That's it. I think I tell my wife, like you want to go shopping? All right.
Wow, Willie. So you wouldn't even look out for like your family in the fraternity and
Nah,
stuff?
for
You
sure,
wouldn't
for
say,
sure.
like,
But
Bandit
then
Prince,
like
Golden
once you
Rule?
open up the bag, that 10 million gone. That's it. I'll give it to them liquor by liquor. You know what I mean? Portion it out. Everybody get a little thing, isn't it?
Okay.
Damn it.
Tony X, are you ready?
Why I didn't get Willy question?
Okay, I'm gonna go to Bandit and then we'll come back. So, if you had the opportunity to meet someone that you've never met, so they could actually be dead or alive, who would it be? Why and what would you talk about? You need time.
One boy.
Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Wow.
Tony, we might have to come back to you here.
Yeah, bro, that's a heavy one, boy.
Okay, so you Bandit, you think about that. I'm switching screens. We're going back to Tony X.
All right. My guilty pleasure.
Yes.
My guilty pleasure is my foot real hot. Like I need to be in somebody's lime. I need to be drinking alcohol. I need to hear very loud music. And this lockdown and COVID situation has been real hard on me not doing those things.
Okay.
That's what I should say.
Okay. So hot foot Tony X. Got it.
Yes.
Bandit, are you ready for me?
Man, they going through the Rolodex right now.
Wow. Does it have to be one answer?
I mean, it could be multiple people, but you can tell us why you would want to
Okay,
convert.
so I'll give you multiple people.
Okay.
Probably Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Ask him what his plans are.
Okay.
Morris Bishop. Just to kind of ask him what his plans are,
Mhm.
or what his plans were supposed to be.
Are there any females in there?
Emails. Let me think. Boy.
This is a good question.
Mine racing is so much people.
Because you got to kind of dig deep to kind of figure out why you would want to ask them certain things. Maybe, wow.
While he's actually thinking, all of you guys think of someone because I'm very interested to know who you guys would each choose. And I'm sure everyone in the comments as well who's watching would be interested.
And I think another I know my grandmother, because both of my grandmothers had very good insight on investments.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish I could get how they thought. So I think female-wise, that would be a good question to ask. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Okay, we'll take those. Those are great answers, actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Willy Chin.
Me? Pass.
No, you can't pass. There's no passing. This is not a sport. We're not passing.
This is a hard question. Let me think. Go. Come back to me.
We're gonna
Okay. Look. Kevin just called my answer in the chat.
Michael Jackson or Malcolm X?
Michael Jackson. My middle son, his middle name is actually, he's named after Michael. So like I'm a big Michael fan, and meeting Michael, just sitting and having a conversation with Mike would be one of the best things that could happen to me about anything,
Right. Okay. Michael Crown Prince, what you got for us?
Well, the second one Kevin Crown put in Malcolm X, but I would have a conversation with Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, and that would be the conversation that I would just have both of them in a room and literally just try to figure out how to fully connect all the dots.
Okay.
Nice.
Scratch Master.
Thought you would have forget me.
No, you're right there at the top of my screen.
I would go with somebody alive. You say dead or alive?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go with Obama.
Nice.
And, just to get into his mindset, how he did things, because there's just something about him that is different. I was never really into politics or anything like that, but when that man speaks, he just draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is an ability. That is a skill. Not anybody could go on a platform and speak and make sense and connect to a younger generation at the same time.
Yeah.
So that'll be my answer.
Willy Chin, we're coming back around to you.
Yeah. Well, definitely I would go with the greats like Michael Jackson, Bob Marley, like musical greats like that. Alive, maybe go have dinner with Beyonce. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Wine and dine her a little bit.
What would you talk to Beyonce about?
Why should I with Dear Z? Like, why should I with me? That's it. Simple.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. If you guys weren't DJing, what would you be doing?
You mean in general or right now?
Yeah, so like if you weren't a DJ, so you weren't an established, renowned DJ, what would you be doing?
Probably working in high-low.
So Tony would be in Trinidad working in high-low. Willie,
Yeah.
what would you be
I'll
doing?
probably an engineer, like Bandit. I don't know.
Okay.
Actually, when like I got I was I went to University of Florida for electrical engineering. I didn't finish out, but that's what I got accepted for.
Okay.
Yeah, graduated top 15 of my class in high school and things.
Woo!
And look at things, So I'll probably be on the academic route, but I chose this path instead.
Okay.
Your parents okay with that decision?
Yeah. Actually,
Nice.
all right.
Craig, what would you be doing?
I'll be in the bank.
You
If I
would
was
still be in the
exposed
bank.
to music or anything, I would have still been in the bank. Definitely.
Okay. And Bandit, you would stick to engineering?
No, I think I would have been like a teacher or a coach.
I could definitely see you as being one of those. You have this way about you that when you speak, it's kind of like an Obama thing. Like you have to kind of stop and listen. And you're very reserved. So when you speak, it's very calm and you're kind of like, okay, whatever Bandit's saying, you should just listen to what he's saying right now.
And already has the gym shorts down packed.
Yeah, there you go.
Facts. But I could totally see that. Okay, and Crown Prince, what would you be doing?
I went to school, funny enough, for electrical engineering, Willie, as well, but I'm minored in computer science. So I don't know, honestly. I honestly don't. I would be doing something. I don't know.
Something. Well, I guess it's safe to say that I'm happy that you guys all chose to be DJs and an MC, since you're not really sure where you would be. Finish this sentence for me. The next time I go to a fete, don't all jump in at once.
Well, I've been to 2 fetes already two since March.
Okay, but those don't really count. Like a real fete, like we're in Trinidad Carnival and Beach House, or
Okay.
I see Private Ryan in the comments. Shout out Private Ryan. We're in a brainwash. The next time I go to a fete, ...
I'm going to enjoy myself.
Are we there to work or we just there to party? Are
we there to party or we working?
We're there to party. You guys are not working.
Party.
Well, if we did the party, the next time we go to a fete, we're gonna make sure I have a really, really good time.
Yeah.
Next time I go to
nothing else than that.
we
never know when it will be the last fete again.
I'm going to harass the DJ with requests all night. That is what I'm going to do.
I'm going to enjoy everyone's company, but I think
Nice.
It's true.
Yeah.
One of those things where just seeing the crew, the regulars,
those little things that we took for granted, like this. Look how much months we haven't seen each other.
Just the whole crew, because one of the things that we kind of take for granted is how big how we extend to, like our group, like we could go to, we be backstage or we might be in the party or whatever the case is. Like Uber Soca, for example, is
Mr.
our
Uber Boy.
It's
just
our ground space. It's our ground zero.
kind of like our convention, you know. I used to call Trinidad Carnival the convention of soca. Like you have to go there where they want to go and see what's going on with stage and lighting and the latest way they're doing tickets and all these things. But Uber became our convention where we could kind of get together and just
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Shout out Uber Soca. This week is Uber Soca week.
This week we would have been getting ready for the cruise.
I had a memory throwback on, I think it was Facebook today when I was getting ready to fly to Florida. I feel like the next 2 weeks is going to be tough for a lot of us. So make sure you guys check in on the Uber Soca family, because I think people are going to be a little depressed in the next couple of days. But I think for me, it was the same thing. Like the fraternity came together on Uber, and it was like we would have breakfast together and we'd have lunch together. You'd walk down, across the avenue and everybody's getting pizza. But it literally felt like a huge college fraternity where, we all live in the same dorms and we're waking up every morning to go see. I know I was talking to Patrice Roberts the other day and she was saying the same thing. She's like, I miss waking up and randomly seeing everybody, just walking around. So 2021, God willing, we will see each other.
Well,
For sure.
Last year was my first Uber. And one thing that I have to say that blew me away with it was the fact that with regards to soca music, all islands were represented. Big time. It wasn't a one island only kind of vibe, all islands were represented. So like if it is you are a DJ that accustomed playing the Caribbean, the especially the smaller island circuit, that was heaven, because you could play certain records that and that there were a few people that know those those songs that weren't necessarily your regular top 20 or top 40.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Correct.
As we wind down the conversation, I always ask everyone on my panel to leave a positive message with everyone. So, after this, a lot of people come back and watch the video. So if the whole world was listening right now, what would you each want to say to them?
This year is so crazy because we know a lot of things is going on that's really, really bad. But this year with the light of COVID and everything, like it was a blessing in disguise for me, as well as getting more family orientated this year with my family. And a lot of the times that I wasn't around and not being spent with my family, I actually got way, way closer with my family this year. So I look at it as a big, big blessing. So my advice to anybody would just be, keep your family as close as possible to you. This year I also lost my dad this year. So it was a little heavy on me too. But, with my family being here so supportive, just keep your family close to you, man. That's all. That's my advice.
Amen to that.
Yeah, family is very important. I mean, I have my wife and my son here, and I mean, they help me through every day. My parents as well. And I think it's important for people to understand that this is a temporary situation. It's not a permanent situation. There will be light at the end of the tunnel. And as Wetty Beat said, things go nice again.
Willy Chin?
Yeah, family is great. Like I had support from day one in this whole venture all the way up to now, like I have a close-knit family on both sides. And my in-laws too. But I'll just say live life to the fullest, just chase your dreams. Don't make anything stop you, and just enjoy life. Don't hold up any grudges, or don't, just be happy. Just be good vibes. That's it. Live life.
I like that. The Bandit?
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing that Willie said, which is, really enjoy life. Take the time to enjoy every moment, because you never know what tomorrow is going to say. So if you can enjoy the moment, enjoy what's happening now, and if you know you're enjoying it, then tomorrow you'll have no regrets because you enjoyed the now. So enjoy life as much to the fullest.
Thank you. Crown Prince?
Yeah, listen, just basically always remember who you're doing it for and why you're doing it, what's important to you. And after that, decisions that you make will just fall in place. It'll almost become, you only have to think about it, you'll just do it.
Thank you. Well, those are all great words. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for being here with me today. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and the good vibes and the laughs. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you guys or even really connected with you guys. So I appreciate you coming on here, and sharing a little bit more about yourself. That's one of the reasons that I created this platform, is that I know a lot of you guys on a personal level, and you guys are all great individuals, and I want people to be able to know a little bit more about you guys, understand your journey, because you guys have contributed to this space over a very long period of time, and you guys should be recognized for all of the great work that you do. So I'm really happy that I was able to sit and chat with you guys today. I don't know if anyone has any parting words, but now would be your time if you wanted to say anything as we exit out.
Just
Thank
you for having us.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Thank you, Kerra.
Thank you.
Giving us
Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk to each other and to talk to you and talk to others, and
I miss you guys.
We miss you too. Well, shout out everyone that was watching. I see Tanika in here, Overdose from Bahamas.
Overdose.
Yeah, I saw
Big up to
Overdose.
Overdose. He's
and Ryan, big up yourself.
Yes, I saw Buffy earlier. But
my wife,
Ryan said don't buff him. Ryan said Bandit, try not to buff him. I don't know.
Ryan saying you want to get buff from Bandit boy.
Right.
But yes, thank you guys all for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow everyone. Their Instagram handles are on the screen, so make sure you guys check them out, support them, follow Kerra Denel, subscribe to my channel. Plugged In is once a month, so we will be having more conversations with more amazing people. And you guys, everyone keep going, keep smiling, keep loving, and stay blessed. Thank you all for watching. And again, guys, thank you for being here with me today.
Respect. Big up.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Yeah, man.
Bye.